Hey, our friends, today we're drawing a really weird bug.
A giraffe beetle.
All right, checkers, you got your marker?
Mm,
All right.
mm,
Are you trying to be a... It's not working very well.
ah.
Got your marker?
Yeah.
All right. He's really excited. You've been wanting to do this draft beetle for a long time, right? Yeah. We hope you guys are excited too. These are the weirdest looking bugs. If you haven't seen one, be sure to do a little search so you know what they look like. Be sure to ask a parent to help you. All right, you ready to start? Let's do it. All right, we're going to start down here in the bottom left. We're going to use our paper vertical because we're going to draw his big long neck. It's huge. And so we're going to start with his beetle body. And it's really cool. We're going to keep it pretty simple, but the shading is going to look awesome when we're done.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're down here at the bottom. We're going to draw a U that's diagonal. So it's pointing kind of down, bottom left. Sweet. Awesome. Yes, cool. Okay, and then we're going to just curve the ends out just a little bit from our U. And then we're going to put a little curve here in the middle. This is where his neck's going to come out. And then we're going to curve back in like this to the sides of the U. Awesome. And that kind of gives it a little more shape. All right, now right down the middle, we're going to split his body like most beetles. Have it split down the middle. Okay, so now we got his body done. Let's draw his neck, okay? It's going to be crazy. So we're going to do a little bump right here on the side.
Its neck.
His neck is huge.
Like a giraffe.
Then we're going to, like a giraffe. It's going to come up.
Oh.
It's huge.
Thinking that's a neck. That's
It's weird.
weird.
Yeah. And then we're gonna build kind of his neck first, and then we're gonna draw the other side. So we're gonna kind of build the structure with almost like it's a stick figure. So we're gonna do a little bump. And this is for the joint where his neck is. He's such a weird creature.
Ugh.
Okay, and then we're gonna draw another line that comes out, and this one kind of bends in a different. I know it's huge. All right, cool. Now we're gonna do another little bump here. And then we're going to come up and we're going to do his head. And we're just going to keep it simple. It's going to loop back around like this. It's massive.
Right now, I'm thinking it's a giraffe.
It's a giraffe. It's a giraffe beetle. All right.
Half giraffe, half beetle.
Yes, exactly. Now we're going to draw the little knob on the other side.
Knob.
Yeah. And then we're going to come back down. And it gets a little thin, but not too thin right here. At this joint, okay? And then we're going to draw another bump. Comes out. All right, now we're going to taper the rest of his neck. And that means it starts small, gets big. It's going to flare out at the bottom. And so we're going to come down and connect to this side of his body. It's weird. It's going to look even better and awesomer when we shade it. Good. Okay, now let's draw his antenna. So we're going to draw two little loops that come out of his side of his head, like bunny ears. Okay, now we're going to come up and curl around for this antenna. And we're going to do the same over here and curl that.
I don't even know the parts of these.
I know, this is his antenna.
Oh, yeah, but it's weird.
Yeah, and then we're going to curve back like this. So they're a little thicker on the end. And then he's got these little jagged spikes that come out of it. And then we'll draw those same spikes on this side. It's starting to look awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now let's build his legs. So we're going to draw the first leg, and it's going to come out of the side of his body, come up, and then back into his body. A little raindrop shape. Okay, and they have different segments on their leg. So let's draw a couple more. So we'll draw one like this coming out. And then this one's going to be his foot little S line, and then we'll come back in.
It's its foot.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. Okay, now let's draw the other one on this side, and it's gonna look like he's standing on our paper. Good, and then this one's gonna overlap behind his neck. So we're gonna draw 2 lines down. Good job. Okay, now let's draw the other 2 legs on this side. So we'll draw the first segment. And you can make his legs point in any direction you want and just try to fit them on your paper. Okay, so this one's going to come down a little further. Now we're going to come out for another segment. And then we'll just draw that little hook. Good. Now let's draw the third leg. Shape. And then I'm going to draw this part coming back. And you can draw any direction so that you can get it, on your paper. And we'll draw one more shape. And then the hook on the end. Nice. Okay, now let's draw the 2 over here. So let's draw this first one because this one's the one that's in front of the other one.
Mm-hmm.
First segment, and this should look pretty much the same as the one on the other side. And then we're going to draw it down, back up. Okay, and then we're going to draw that last little bit and then the hook. Good. Okay, now let's draw his last leg. Draw it out like this. Oh, it's kind of a funny shape. We're going to color it in with markers, so it's okay if we do it. A weird line. And then this part is going to come down, back up, and it's going to be behind this leg. Overlapping, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to draw this hook that's on the other side of his foot or leg. Good job. All right, we did it. So we can put a couple more details. Let's draw a little belly here. And then I'm going to draw just another shape right here on the end of his back. Okay, so we're going to fill in the rest of his body with our black marker. But before we do that, let's make a couple highlights. So I'm going to do a circle here. And these we are going to highlight with our colored pencil. But there's a couple spots on his body that we want to be really bright white. Okay, so we're gonna make sure we don't color those in. So I put a couple dots there, one on his head. Let's do one right here on that little knot on his neck. Good. Okay, and then let's come back down here and let's do 2 little ovals right here next to his neck. And then let's do a couple on his knees. So let's do one on each of his knees. So his knees look shiny. And then we'll do one over here on this side. And then these are going to be in shadow, so we won't put highlights on these legs. Good job. Okay, we're going to fill in the rest, and we want to make sure we don't fill in these little highlights. We're going to use our marker, and that's because we're going to go back over it with a white colored pencil to do the rest of the highlights. Yeah. Let's fast forward, all right?
Okay.
Right now. Okay, we're going to use white, this tan color, red, and this is a dark red. It's called crimson red, and then also black. Okay, the first step, let's do his body. So we're going to put those other ones off to the side and use the red. And we want a nice highlight on this side. So we're going to create a shape right on the side of his body right here that we're not going to color in. And I'm going to do one more shape next to it that's even thinner. So we got those shapes in there. And then we're going to color it nice and solid. So we're going to press really hard so it's thick. All right, cool. Okay, we worked really hard on getting that nice and solid so there's no texture of the paper showing through on the red. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to get our white. And we want to soften the edge around the red. So where it comes in, we're just going to blend it. And you don't want to blend the whole thing because you want to leave some of it white. Okay. Yes, just like that. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to press really hard with the white, and it will go back over the red, and we're going to put a reflected light. That means light that's bouncing off of like a white wall and then shining onto his body. And it's not as bright as the highlight right here on this side.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to go right here on the split, and we're going to add a highlight also right here, and you can keep coloring on top until that white shows through. Okay, and then we're going to also, I'm going to press really hard on the back of his butt, back of his body, sorry, his rear end. And we're going to do, so there's a little reflected light on the back of his body. His shell is really shiny. Okay, now we're going to get our black, and this is where we're going to add some shading. So we're going to go back over the red, and we're just going to do a really light layer. You don't want to press too hard. We just want a little light layer. And as we get close to the top of his neck, we're going to get a little brighter or lighter. So it just blends out. Okay, and then we're going to go back over it, and we're going to get a little darker towards the bottom, the back here, just a little darker, and blend it out towards the top too. So it looks like it's very round. Okay, now we're going to get our red, and this is why we like Prismacolor so much, is because we can go back over that black and then start blending the black so it looks smoother and you can't see those pencil marks.
Yeah.
And then the last thing we're going to do on his belly or on his back is just put a little texture in that highlight so that it doesn't look like a perfect, it's got little divots and bumps in his shell, little imperfections, texture on there. Then you can go back over just each of those little dots and blend them with the white. Okay, we're done with his beetle back, and now we're going to get our white, and there's probably some red on there. So we're going to use a scratch piece of paper I have off to the side here.
I just sharpened it.
Oh yeah, you could sharpen it too, and it just gets that red off,
Yeah.
off of your pencil. So now we're going to put the reflections on his neck. So there's a reflection coming this way and also a reflection coming this way. So we're on this side, we'll start on this side. Look at that. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
We can color right on top of that black. And the cool thing about this white on top of the black is it's not as bright as this reflection or the shine over here. So we're just going to do that. Put a thin reflected light on this side of his body. Okay, and then we're going to come back. Or you need to fix something?
Yeah, I made it too thick.
Good. Yeah, you can go back over it with the marker and fix it if you want. Good. Okay, now let's go back on this side, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put this texture or the reflection all the way up, and I'm going to run into those little hot spots that we put in there. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on this part of his neck. This one's going to be really thin on this side, and then get a little thicker up at the top so it tapers, it flares out. And then we're going to put a little reflection too on the knuckles, his neck knuckles, whatever they're called.
Bulbs.
His bulbs.
Wait, what?
And then we're going to also do this on his head. So I'm going to come off of this little hot spot reflection right here. And then I'm going to do little texture or little reflections on his antenna on each of these little pieces all the way up. And then I'm going to get this brown color and we'll fill in the end of his antenna.
Oh my goodness.
It's awesome, isn't it? You excited? You still excited? Okay, now let's come down and we're going to do the same thing to his legs because they're shiny. So I'm going to come off of each of those reflections, the little hot spots that we didn't color in, and put a little tail. Almost looks like a comet in the sky. I'm going to put another one on this side of this leg. And I'm going to come over, do it on this leg too. Put the little highlights in there. I'm going to do it on his legs and also on his foot. And do the same thing over here on this leg. And then this one back here too. Okay, now I'm gonna do one last thing. I'm gonna take this black and I'm gonna go back over this highlight and just darken towards the top and shade so it's brighter down here at the bottom and then darker as it goes up to the top. And that way it doesn't look like it just looks a little more realistic if you kind of feather it off. So it's really bright down here at the bottom and then fades out at the top. Checkers, man, he looks awesome and extremely realistic. Almost looks like he's popping right off the paper. And this is probably now one of my favorites.
Me too.
Also because it's probably the weirdest one.
Yes.
Yeah, we hope you guys had fun drawing the weirdest bug on the planet. We'll see you later, our friends. Goodbye.
Bye, friends.